This is the homework for lesson number 56 for the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi series of lessons that Paul has on YouTube. He asked us to use the display to display the prompts for measuring the altitude or the height of this little BMP-180. Okay, if I go to, let's go to the software first. And in here, we of course include the Adafruit BMP-180, which also includes the BMP-180. And I include SPI, Wire, Adafruit FX, and Adafruit 1306. Then I set the address for 03C, because that's what the address of my display is. And then I set up the OLED object with this statement here, Adafruit 1306 sets the object, which is OLED, the screen width, the screen height. I call that wire, and I call that OLED reset. Well, the reset in this case is -1. It doesn't get used. Now down here, we set up some, what do you call it, variables. BMP connected, have base, Boolean, BMP connected, and a Boolean have base, and it would be either false or true. Same thing for BMP connected. Now, I had to put a button pin in, which I put on pin 7 because it happened to be conveniently located on that side. And then we have the but state equals 0. Then I add two delay times, 100 and 3000. Because when you run this thing, if the BMP is not recorded or not responding, it'll pop up there and just go right on. So I added a 3-second delay to help us see that happen. Now if I go in here and I pull up my BMP-180, well, GY-87. Anyhow, if I do that and then I run this thing by pressing, I don't have the computer hooked up to it, so I have to hit the button to start it again. And then it comes up there, it says BMP-180. You can read it, it's hard to see. BMP-180 not found. Now if I put it back, okay, that goes right there. Okay, now if I do it again, I click it, and it says press button for reference. So if I push the yellow button here, I'll get a reference for the height of this desk. Now, what I did was I did it for 3 seconds because otherwise it just runs right by it. So I put it 3 seconds so you know that something happened there and know to go and check it out or fix it. In this case, we have the base pressure, which is the reference pressure here. And then we have the float height now. That's for the low pass filter. Then we have setup. We set up the display. We set up the address, screen address, and this stuff has to do with the VCC and something to do with the displays, but I've never quite understood what was going on there. And we got clear display, I clear it just in case there's something still on there. And then I set up the serial in case I need to use the serial. And I set up pin mode for the butt pin to input pull down, because I wanted to use pull up to 5 volts when I push the button. Then down here we set up the display initial settings here. If it says if BMP connected is true, equals true, then it goes through and says it was found. And conversely, if BMP is connected equals false, then you use this display, which says not found. Then I put DT1 to, because otherwise it just goes right across it. You won't be able to read it. So I give it about 3 seconds for the operator to see what's going on. Then we get down into the loop. The loop I have base equals false. If it is, then it says you didn't get a base reading, right? So that means your base reading isn't there. And that's when I set up press the button for the reference. And that's using the display. I say clear display just for make sure. And then I set the text size to 2 because I'm an old guy and I can't see. And I set the text color to white. It only has white. And then I draw a rectangle around the text. This is just the maximum size a rectangle could be on that little screen. And then we set cursor to 5.5. It's 5x, 5y. And I'll put the cursor right, well, if I can get a pencil or something to poke with here. Here we go. It would be right about there. This is where it'll start. Then I add about 15 or so for each one, for each line. So the second line will be the voltage. If I click this thing, start it, you got the press button for reference. As you can see, I put it on 5, then 15 or 20, and then 35 for the last one. Now, if we go down, if we're in this if, we know we haven't got a base pressure reading. So at this point here, it says base pressure, BP read pressure, and then that. Now, if we go down here, Paul had no, that's not there, that's here. Okay, when we get the reading for the pressure, then the next thing down, we get height now equals find height and base pressure. That's the one that's banging, quite a bit every, where's it at here? Every, every 100 milliseconds, it hits it. So down here, you can see it's doing that, and then here's where we get the have base equals. Let's say if the base is true, in other words, you have a reading, then I go ahead and say the height equals 0.92 for the height. That's the calculated one, and for the reading now, I only give it about 8%. I give it 92% for the old height and only 8% for the high frequency height. So when it changes, it'll go kind of slow. Anyhow, then I set the delay time, which is, I believe, DT is 100 milliseconds. Okay, then I clear the display, set the text height to get it, text size, set the color, draw a rectangle again, do everything else except in this case I'm writing the height equals the actual, what do you call it, the low pass filter height, and then I set the cursor to 535 and then say feet. And if you go down here, this is where we find the height. This is the what do you call it? A function. We find height function. We pass it the what was it called? The pressure output. Yeah. We give it the pressure, and then we use all these factors and do the calculation, and you return the height. The height now. That, like I said, pretty ragged. That's kind of really fast. So now, if I've done that, if I go here, now it says press the button for the reference. Right now it's sitting on the table. If I press the button, it'll start reading. It is the most accurate thing in the world, I tell you. Now, it's still reading 2 inches. If I go up a little bit, it goes to about, actually it's in feet. So if I go up, it's hard to see this darn thing. Let me try it this way. I don't know if you can see that on there or not. Anyhow, going up, you can get it to about a couple of feet. Then if I go down below the table, it should be in a negative, and it's going negative 1.1 or so. Anyhow, that is independent because I put a little battery here. If you look at the battery I have, I got this little battery module for charging it. And then I use that, and I put a little switch to turn it off because I don't want to run it all the time and then wipe the battery out. Not the biggest battery in the world, but it works for a while. So if I turn it on or off, I can turn it off. You can see that I turned off the whole thing. If I turn it back on, it'll pop right back up. And I don't know why it did that. Okay. Then it sits there for the button press, and then you do another reference. Right, 0.2, 0.2, 1.3 or 4. Minus, takes a little while to get there. -1, back up to here. And we should go back to about 0. Anyhow, there's my homework, and I appreciate you doing these videos. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.